To end our evening, we're going to read the poem again. But before we do that, Sam has very kindly agreed to share a little bit about it. And Sam, I'm going to ask you if you will maybe come forward to this microphone so that I can ask you just a couple of questions. I must say I really love the poem. I've read it probably 20 times, and every time I read it, I see something new in it.
You promised to only ask very easy questions.
You seem to come up with the poem very quickly. I asked you, one day if you might possibly consider it, and about 2 days later it popped into my inbox. Is that how it normally happens?
No. So I have a very sore throat. I went to England to visit my son, and I came back with must have got something on the plane. So I've got a rough, raw throat. But I won't say very much, thankfully.
Yeah. Well, my congregation are praying that would happen every Sunday, but...
Good. Sorry, you asked the question.
So in terms of, how poetry comes to you?
I know it's kind of a mystery. It comes sometimes very quickly, sometimes very slowly. It's like a sermon. This came very... Well, I discovered actually that when this church was being built, there was a whole lot of, like tonight, there were a whole lot of storms around the coasts of England and Ireland, great thunderstorms and great downpours of rain. And I think that kind of affected what I was thinking about the poem, because there's a lot of weather in the poem, and that sort of gave me an idea of what it was about. And tonight, as you may have noticed, there's a lot of weather outside, so it's a bit of a coincidence, I think. But no, it came very quickly then. Yeah,
well, I would say I like it very much. You suggested that the poem be read in 2 parts as we did it tonight. In fact,
that's right. That's because the poem is a sonnet.
Yeah.
So there's 14 lines in the sonnet, and the 2 bits are the first half is 8 lines, and the second half is 6 lines, and that's why it's in that sort of format. And the first half is a bit like the Old Testament. It's a bit rough, a bit grim, and the second half is a bit more feminine, and that's why I thought it might be a good idea, a bit more gentle, and I think that's why I thought it might be a good idea if a woman's voice, like your voice, came in the second half, and your more stern voice.
Oh,
in the first bit.
I was kind of struck by some of the imagery in the first half. I thought was almost brutal. It talked about the thorns that pierce, the walls being chiseled, the carpenter's sawing, nails being hammered. And actually, I don't know whether this was intentional or not, some of those are references almost to the crucifixion.
Yes.
And then things soften in the second part with images of twilight moving in sills, shadows clinging to walls, the bell's voice fading, the nave being dressed in shadows. Beautiful imagery. And it seemed to me that some sort of transformation is taking place. There's some kind of moving on from a world or a place where there's hurt and pain to a place of healing and acceptance and wholeness, as reflected in the last line of the poem, which I've left down there and can't refer to now, but it talks about a kind of acceptance and finding of peace. Is that what you'd intended? And what do you think is it that brings that transformation almost?
Well, I think that is true, and it's moving from darkness to light. I think that is true, and it's the transformation of just from darkness to light and the beauty of light.
Yeah. I was also struck with a line that says, in quiet unity, this is the last line, in quiet unity, in reverie, we are caressed. And that thought of quiet unity really intrigued me. And I wondered if you had in mind almost a sense in which those who habitually worship here are almost in a kind of unity with the place, that the building which is the church and the people who are the church almost kind of shape each other and fuse together in a common purpose. I like that idea, if that is indeed what you were thinking of, perhaps, or is it perhaps just simply the unity, a reference to a shared humanity with all the brokenness that the first part refers to, or even unity with the divine? Maybe it's all of those.
It is that. And when you try to put it into words, you kind of lose it. That's why I think the music that you just at the end kind of embodies that feeling, the emotion.
Yeah. And that's why I've enjoyed reading it so many times, because every time I see it, I find a new depth, and a different word kind of impinges on my consciousness. And I hope that will be the case for you. And Tim, I must say that your artwork of the two different views of the church only reinforces that sense. So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Sam. Much appreciated.
Refuge Resulte, St. Canice's Church, Eglinton, 1822 to 2022.
A storm arrives, hustling low, flattening the crops, turning grass to hay. Hedges shudder, crows rise and fall, black-nebs ploughshare the skies. A bush top's thorns pierce low-lying clouds' bellies. Hammer and chisel-dressed, the stone walls rise. Rainwater plumets, polishing the black-slated roof. A carpenter's saws, planes and nails planked wood. Wild winds harry in and out empty windows.
Twilight moves on sills, shadows cling to walls. They dither, slither, dance side by side, mesmeric. While some reflecting on broke stone break bread. One shuts tight the house as day and night melt. The bell's voice fades. The nave in shades is dressed. In quiet unity, in reverie, we are caressed.
Gnat's teeth and pierced wound are now long gone, giving voice to the thought that peace and pain are one.
Okay.